And now, coming out of Cleveland, Tennessee, I give you the Normal Dudes Podcast.
Today on the podcast, we have a man who has just claims a self-proclaimed country boy. He's also a professional fighter and a coach at CMAC in Chattanooga. Let's welcome Chatt. Is it Lavender?
It is.
Yes.
That's 2 in a row, son.
Yes, sir. Man, I'm killing it. I'm killing it with the names.
So you've been in this fight game a long time, right?
Long time. I started training back in 1996.
Man.
And had my first amateur fight in 1998. I believe I turned pro in 2000. So, yeah.
97 was when I graduated high school, so we're close to the same age then, probably.
Yeah, I graduated in 94.
Okay. Oh, so you're the same age as my wife. My wife is 49. She'll be 50 this year. So what made you get into it, brother? When, like you're 18 when you got into it, or 19?
That's 20.
20.
I just turned 20. Yeah, funny story. So I wrestled in high school. Didn't start wrestling until my junior year, so I only wrestled my junior and senior year of high school. But, I mean, I did all right. I qualified for the state tournament, which is pretty good for a 2-year wrestler, right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then after I graduated, of course, I missed it terribly. I really, really missed wrestling and had this big regret that I didn't get into it sooner than what I did. It's like, man, how good could I have been?
Yeah.
So I was kind of searching for something, you know, for a couple of years. And so really tell my age now. I was at Blockbuster Video.
Yeah, I remember that, dude. I love that.
Yeah, I was at Blockbuster Video one night, and I'm looking around, you know, and I see this VHS tape, and it says Ultimate Fighting Championship, wrestling versus judo versus karate. And I'm like, what is this, you know? So I take that video home and I watch it, and it's UFC 1. Little old Hoist Gracie, 170 pounds, and he is
slapping dudes around.
He's tapping people out, you know. And of course, I'd never heard of jiu-jitsu at this time,
right.
You know, but I'm like, that's pretty similar to wrestling,
Looks
what
close.
he's doing, you know. But he's choking fools out, you know. This is I want to learn this, and so. Me and my girlfriend at the time were watching this video, and I was like, I'm going to do that. And she horse laughed me.
Dang.
She's like, yeah, right, whatever. I was like, show you, bitch.
Yeah.
So she was kind of a cunt anyway, so
yeah.
You're good over there.
Yeah. So, but, you know, after that, I was like kind of fired up and like started searching for somewhere to train. And just so happened, one of the guys that I wrestled with in high school was doing karate in Dayton under Dave Part, rest in peace. And so I talked to him one day. He's like, yeah, man. He said, it's not wrestling, but it's something. Mm-hmm. He said, you know, you can learn how to punch people and kick people. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I'll do that. So started training at Parks Ishinru Karate in 96.
Ishinru
Karate, yep.
Oh, that's what I took whenever I was young, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty crazy.
And of course, not only Casey, the guy that got me to going, there was a couple of other guys that did the karate classes that was on the same wrestling team. Mm. So, you know, we would do karate classes and then stay after class and wrestle.
Heck yeah.
And we did that for a few months, and then a guy named Mark Eldridge, he moved up to Dayton from Tampa, Florida, and he was a brown belt in judo. And so he started teaching judo classes on Monday and Wednesday. We had the karate classes on Tuesday and Thursday, and Dave was nice enough to let us have a key. So all of us that wrestled together, we'd get together on Friday and wrestle and try to kind of put MMA wasn't even a thing at this point,
Right. Yeah.
And we would kind of train all of it together,
That's
So I was,
cool, man.
Yeah, bro.
I was really, really lucky in the early days of fighting that I had a well-rounded base right off the rip, Back then, a lot of guys were just wrestlers or just boxers. That's all they knew.
Yeah.
And it was legit style versus style.
Yeah.
Where I had a little bit of it all.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, since you did Ishinru karate, do you happen to know Breck Helms from around here?
I do not.
Okay. He was the one who taught that class there in where I took it at when I was 10.
Yeah. I can't really remember the name, so that's pretty cool.
So I went to school with his kids too. I went to school with his son. I went to their house. It was not.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. So this used to be.
Oh, damn, that was an impactful bro right there.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like that. I did watch him fight in a couple of Batman competitions, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He didn't win, but he did. He was 65 when he fought in his first Batman competition.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. You plan on doing this for a long time?
You mean competing?
I mean, yeah, competing. Yeah, I know. I feel like you're going to coach forever, bro.
Yeah.
It's in you now. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I love coaching. I really do. And to be honest, we actually had the conversation a day or two ago about, I honestly don't think that my body can make it through another fight camp. I really don't. Now, could I train kind of half-ass and still do okay? I'm sure I could. But that's not in me. I'm not wired that way.
Yeah.
If I'm fighting, I have to train like I'm fighting a world champion.
Yeah.
That's just how I am.
Mindset. Yeah. It's just your mindset. Yeah.
And after my last fight that I had back in February, my knees hurt for 2 solid months after that. And it wasn't anything in the fight. The fight lasted 1 minute and 33 seconds.
Yeah.
It was the 2 months before the fight,
the
camp that just broke me down. Golly. And I just don't know that I can handle that again.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, you got to listen
part of life.
You got to listen to your body.
Yeah.
You got to, bro. You got to. I know now, right now I can sitting right here. I barely moved off this couch, and I know I couldn't train for no fight. I'd never have. So I don't have the heartache or the turmoil that goes along with that. Like, up here, is that affecting you mentally at all, or is it like I'm good? It's just
I'm good. Yeah, I mean, I really am.
And you still get to be a big part of it.
Yeah, exactly, and that helps a lot.
Yeah,
being around the guys every day.
Yeah,
and going to fights with them and being in their corner.
Yeah,
and really honestly, whenever one of our guys wins, that's even better than if I win a fight. It really is. It means more.
It feels better.
It feels better. It does.
Yeah. Especially if he wins by something you showed him or something like that. He's like, I showed him that. Yeah. So before this podcast is over, I'm going to record. I'm just going to let Trey lay down on the floor, and I'm going to show him how heavy you are.
Okay.
We can do it, bro. You know what? I've been thinking about that shit for 3 days. No shit.
Yeah.
I haven't, dude.
Have you pooped today?
Yeah.
Yeah, twice.
Okay, so you should be good then.
Yeah.
Bro is heavy, dude. He is heavy. I mean, like, he looks thick, right?
Yeah, he's told me stuff about when he was laying on it. He's like, dude, it feels like
you can't breathe.
It's like,
well, that goes into part of my fight philosophy, right?
Yeah.
And it's so cool that Billy and I, we're so aligned on so many things, the way we teach and train. And I tell the guys that when you're on top of somebody and you're in side control, you don't want that guy on his back thinking about how he's going to escape or how he's going to counter or how he's going to defend.
Yeah.
You want that guy laying there. The only thing going through his mind is, how is he going to get his next breath? And if you can get that heavy to make somebody beg for air, you can do whatever you want.
I might shit my pants, bro. So.
You could.
I feel like that's a possibility.
I really want you to feel it.
I do too, honestly.
Like, I was on a mat, so it probably will feel worse on this.
Yeah.
But you need to feel that, dude. Just so you can, when you're watching a fight, and you see it like, he's just laying on him.
Yeah.
Well, get up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get up, bro. If he's just laying there, get up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that easy, bro.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like wrestling. I love the wrestling and jiu-jitsu part of it because all of my kids wrestled.
Right.
So I love watching that aspect of the fight game. I like the knockouts and the kickboxing and all that, but the wrestling aspect of it is so much more interesting to me.
I find that it's one of those things that people that don't have a knowledge of it don't appreciate it. But if you've done it, then you get it a little bit better, and you know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When somebody's just like, I've been around enough wrestling where there's moms over there yelling, "Get up!" You're like,
it ain't that easy.
Yeah.
He's trying.
Yeah.
I promise you, he's trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not easy. Man. So you've had 16 fights, if I'm not mistaken, professional.
Well, you have probably been looking on a database on the internet.
Yeah, like Tapology or something.
Yeah, you got to remember a lot of my fights were back in the day
Before
any of that ever existed.
Yeah.
I've actually had 30 fights.
Okay. Professional fights.
My record is 23-7.
Dang.
Oh, golly.
Yep.
What?
What was you've had a lot of people and some big names too. So, like, who's your hardest, like, in the moment fight? I'm just curious.
So there's 3 big ones, right?
Yeah.
And it relates to where I was at, mentally and physically, and with my training and everything at that moment in time. My first real test, my first real fight against somebody that was really good was I fought a guy named Carl Schmidt, and probably never heard of him, but at that time he was the next big up and comer. He had fought in some big shows. He had fought some guys that were fairly big names at that time. You're here again. This is 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'd had, I don't know, 7 or 8, very low level fights. So I got matched up with him in a show, and I was definitely the B-side guy. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Nobody gave me a snowball's chance of beating this guy.
Yeah.
Right? But I was able to, show my age again, order some VHS tapes of some shows that he had fought on, right? So I got to study him a little bit. And the one thing that I noticed with him was it doesn't matter if the fight lasted 2 rounds or if it lasted 1 minute. He was gassed. Like, he went 100% balls to the wall.
As fast as he could.
As hard as he could, right?
Yeah.
So he was spent. So this fight that we had, here again, this is way before unified rules, right?
Yeah.
So the fight was scheduled.
Back then.
Yeah, well, it was a different world.
Yeah, dude.
You could be on the ground and get kneed in the face.
Yeah.
Didn't have to wear gloves,
Yeah.
They call it bare knuckle fighting now, and
It's just what we did.
Yeah.
And actually, they called it NHB, no holds barred.
Yeah.
That's what it was called before it was called MMA. And so this fight that we're scheduled to fight is scheduled for 3 8-minute rounds.
Dang it.
And I said, if I can make it through the first round,
I got him.
he's done.
Yeah.
And that was the game plan the whole time. Survive that first round. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
I did a whole bunch of defending,
But that was your hardest, like one of the hardest fights for you right off the
But when the bell rung for the first round, this guy literally sprinted across the cage. I mean, he's down a 3-point stance like a football player.
Yeah.
Boom, took off.
Golly,
And man, it was for about 4 minutes. I thought he was going to kill me.
Yeah.
But I could feel that tank getting lower and lower.
Yeah.
So then, after the first round's over, I pop up. I go back to my corner. I don't even sit down. I'm standing. I look over the cage at him, and he is dead. His head is hanging. He's tired. I said, I got you
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Dang it, bro.
Second round, he comes out and he's just, he sure didn't sprint. You know,
Yeah.
He just kind of plods over and tries to take me down. I sprawl, spin, take his back, choke him out.
Heck yeah.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
So you still watch videos, or like on your if your students are
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Matson and Connor are fighting
Yeah.
at the end of this month.
June 28th,
So
Jackson.
yeah,
there was
this-
somebody we was interviewing one time. I don't remember who it was, but they was like, I asked them if they watched film on stuff, and they're like, no, I'm sure my coaches do, and they just,
yeah, I do.
I was just wondering why don't they do that?
They should.
They should.
They
I feel like
really
they should
should.
too. I mean, I would.
They really should.
Should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always did. If I could get any
If you
footage
find
on.
something, I mean, in,
God
the,
dang.
in the amateur game, it's a little bit more difficult, right?
Sure.
He
Because
was doing it back on VHS
It's-
tapes.
yeah,
so
it's
it's like,
all on how
That's
hard you.
pro.
I know, but still.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's like
Everything's on the internet now.
That's true.
with everything, right? Such as life. It's how much effort do you want to put into it?
Yeah.
You know, I put in the effort to, back then we had it wasn't even a magazine. It was a newspaper called Full Contact Fighter that had all the results and write-ups of all the fights that were going on back then. So I'd scour through, I find his name. Okay, he fought on this show. And then call up a buddy of mine. Hey, you got this video?
Mm.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. How much effort do you want to put into
Yeah.
it? And these guys today, they don't have to put that kind of, you put a Google in somebody's name and
Such
there
his
it
name,
is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why would you not watch some video on the
know.
guy that you're going to compete against?
That's the way I feel about it.
I
Why would you
definitely
not?
Would. I definitely
100%.
would. I mean, like, my sport was always baseball.
Right.
And I coached some 8-year-olds. Well, I mean, there was one team that was really good, beating everybody, and my team was thrown together. I didn't even have a kid on the team; it was just thrown together. And I went to the ballparks whenever they were playing and just scouted out what was going on.
Right.
It's an 8-year-old baseball game; it didn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I'm gonna
dude.
Still
scout it
wanna
out.
win.
Yeah, yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. That's cool.
I scout that team out. This kid hits the center field. This kid hits, and then I was telling him, "Hey, shortstop, that way, 3 steps. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
second base, you're that way, 4 steps. First base, come in here." I had it all wrote down.
Right.
We still lost, but I did everything I could do.
Hey, and sometimes that's the way it is,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes you can
We
do.
give them a lot more than they wanted, though. You know,
Yeah.
it's just we gave them a lot more than they wanted for sure, but.
Yeah. It goes that way sometimes.
Yeah, I would always. I think I would. Well, I know myself. I would scout it.
Yeah. I got too much anxiety thinking about everything that's going to happen, so I would definitely be obsessed over it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Like I got nervous about interviewing you because I feel like you're way bigger than we deserve to be interviewing. To be real with you,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And I felt the same way about Billy. You know, these guys sit down and you're like, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you're famous,
No.
but
not
if
at
you
all.
type your name in,
Bunch of stuff pops up.
You can Google me. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, I guess.
yeah, you can Google you and
Sure.
find out that you're a pretty big deal. You know what I'm saying? So we get nervous about that stuff, bro.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it, but so you started fighting, and then we kind of heard the story about what made you start. Then, how did you eventually go pro? That was the next step, I guess, for you. But what triggered that? How did that all play out?
Here again, you got to think of the time, right? It was a totally different game back then,
Sure.
right? And I got into it in the first place just because that's what I wanted to do. I
Yeah,
never
just loved it.
I
yeah.
just liked competing, and you know, that was the closest thing to wrestling that I could do. You know, so that's what I did. I just liked to compete.
Yeah.
And I never had any illusion of making my living at fighting or anything like that.
No, because you were
I mean, I've kept a full-time job the whole time, you
Yeah.
know.
That's crazy. Bro.
you're fighting huge names, dude.
Yeah, I
You
didn't
fought
care.
huge names and kept a full-time job.
Yeah,
That's-
Still got to
but
pay them bills.
Yeah.
it was, here again, I just did it for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And back then, really, even if
Oh,
you
there was
went
no
to,
money in it.
Yeah, even if you went to the UFC,
There was no money.
Yeah.
None.
none.
And the fight I was telling you about earlier, that was actually my first pro fight.
Yeah,
And it was just a phone call. I'd done, amateur fights in Memphis. And the guy that was putting on this show where I fought Carl he was there a lot of times in Memphis, and he saw me fight. And, hey, man, you want to fight this guy as a professional? Pay you $300. I was like, well, cool. All right, let's go.
97, bro. We get a vacation and I get $300.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
So, yeah, it was not any sort of, okay, I'm going to do this many amateur fights and I'm going to turn pro and I'm going to.
None of that.
There wasn't any of that.
I just love the sport. I'm going to compete in it.
Yeah. And go as far as I guess I can go. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and even really back then, though, there wasn't even there was no set path really or nothing.
No. It was
just willy-nilly, really.
It was crazy. It was insane the way that it was. you
Yeah.
know. And a lot of it,
It's almost good now compared to what it was.
it's
back
great
then.
compared to what it was.
And it's still not great.
It's still not great.
Yeah.
But like in the UFC, if you didn't know somebody, you weren't getting in.
Yeah.
Right.
You had to be
Right.
buddy with one of those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Especially back then, the
Mhm.
UFC roster that was in 2000, 2001.
That's pre Dana White too. Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I could have
Yeah.
plowed through half those guys,
Yeah.
But, I mean,
They knew somebody there getting paid.
here again, like I said at the very beginning, I was an old country boy from nowhere, Tennessee.
Yeah.
They don't care about me.
Yeah.
So,
I love it, man.
but I didn't
Yeah.
care because
That's
here
not what
again,
you were there for.
That's not why I was there. I was just having
You
fun.
had a full-time job.
Yeah, I was paying my bills.
Yeah.
That was my hobby.
That's insane.
I love getting hit in the face.
Yeah, I mean, we all
everybody.
joke around at the gym all the time saying, for every one of us, there's something that's mentally not right with us.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's our hobby.
Yeah.
To get in there and beat each other up.
Yeah.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I don't think there's something right in my head either because I freaking loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just too lazy to go back. I need to go. Just really, it made me feel great, dude. Whenever I was leaving the gym, even after, you laid on me and I couldn't breathe. I thought I was dead. I thought I was dying. And I got in the car and I was shaking the whole way home and I got, because I'm telling you, bro, I was
believe you,
shaking the
Evan.
whole way home. And
It's funny.
because I'm out of shape,
Yeah.
I'm old and fat and out of shape. And I was just shaking. I was like, golly, bro. My legs wasn't. And I
Gosh.
got home and I was like, sat down on the couch and I was like, dude, I feel great. I feel great now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like a brain fog had been lifted and everything.
The release of endorphins and adrenaline that you get from training like that, nothing else can really measure to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The natural high that you get
It
from
was.
training.
Yeah.
But the jiu-jitsu part of it for me was better than the striking class was.
For you.
Yeah. I enjoyed the jiu-jitsu part of it more.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know, maybe it was because I was so wore out.
Well, I think that everybody,
That night.
I think everybody naturally enjoys or gravitates more towards one or the other.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's like that, I believe,
Okay. Do you got one you gravitate towards more?
Jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here again, it's because I
Started.
started in wrestling. And plus, a lot of it has to do with just the way I'm built. I'm short and stocky.
Yeah, I got to
Yeah.
get inside.
I got to get inside on
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
and preferably put you on the ground
Yeah.
to
Quick
do
as
what
I
I really
can.
want to do.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to be able to stand out there and pick somebody apart.
Right.
I don't have a big reach or
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with us being thick like we are.
Yeah.
Well,
We are both thick.
yeah. I'm nowhere near as thick, but
No, you're not.
that boy thick, son. He's thick as a bowl of oatmeal. Been sitting out all day.
You still work out like with weights, or is that just all down?
So I've not touched a weight in 3 years, every bit of 3 years, maybe 4 years now. I've not touched a weight. But I went through a period of probably 4 or 5 years where I wasn't able to train any martial arts hardly at all. Just every now and then I go roll with somebody or something. But I got into powerlifting. And so, something I kind of always had a desire to do.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to kind of get into it. So I spent a few years
Powerlifting.
Yeah, powerlifting.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, you say I'm thick now, but I'm about 215.
Yeah.
I was about 235 when I was powerlifting. Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I've ever that I lifted weights. I enjoyed that. I enjoy it. I still do. I don't go do it anymore. I hadn't been there in over a year. But I like that. I like to see the results from it, and I feel like that training in the gym, fighting or whatever, would be a lot the same.
It's very similar.
Because, you go in and you're like, I got stuck on this. And this today, I figured it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I put something together.
Yeah.
I got out of that or whatever. So I feel like you could do the same thing just training to fight. And I feel like it's better for the mental. For me, it was better mentally when I left the gym that night than just going into the gym and lifting.
It's a lot more beneficial.
You like it better too?
Yeah,
huh?
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my wife will tell you that when I was powerlifting, I could waddle up to a squat bar and bust out 500 pounds for 4 or 5 reps.
Yeah.
But I couldn't run from here to the door.
Yeah. No,
You know what I'm
can't.
saying?
Yep.
And when I started back training and coaching and everything, and it took some time, but I lost a lot of the weight. And
Did your endurance go down that much though? Yeah.
oh yeah, like one round and I was dead.
So
Dead
you
tired.
knew exactly how I felt
Yeah.
that night.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been there.
Okay.
But now that I've been not lifting and just training, the strength is still there.
Yeah.
I've not gotten weak by any means.
No. Yeah.
And my flexibility has improved. Cardio is way better. And I just generally feel better. You know, just in all aspects.
Yeah.
You know.
Your joints don't hurt as bad.
Oh no. I mean, my elbows were hurt. My shoulders were hurt.
I know, bro.
You know, my knees hurt, but
My knees hurt too.
that's a lot of it is I did have a really bad injury on a motorcycle about 12 years ago. And I've dealt with a torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus. I never had it fixed. So
I had meniscus surgery. That was about the worst part knee wise, but it still feels. I can still feel it all the time, even though it's fixed or whatever. It's not popping out of place anymore, but
but it don't feel good.
Every once in a while you wake up and it swelled up or whatever, and I don't know, man. I would love to get in there. Just quit being lazy. I work a 40-hour week job plus, right? I work hard. And then whenever I'm driving home, that's the last thing you think of is like, I need to go to the gym.
So here again, it's on what you want, right?
Yeah. Do I want to feel better?
Do you really want to learn a little bit and feel better and get in good shape?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we just touched on it earlier. I was working a full-time job and fighting the best fighters in the
know.
world. So I don't want to hear it.
The thing is, though, is we're all different. We're all different, right?
Okay, fair enough.
My mindset is not that. That's for sure.
But seriously, man, if you could pick like 2 days a week,
Yeah.
it would just make yourself come 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Commit to it. Say, this is what I'm doing. And you would be amazed the difference that just those 2 days a week
Would make.
And, we touched on it earlier, just the mental benefits.
Yeah,
are
that was huge for me.
Huge.
It was huge for me. I felt so much better. I felt happy. Now, when I got home, Ashley was upset or whatever, and I was like, ooh, but no, I'm just kidding.
A supportive wife is a very big deal.
Yeah.
You can't underestimate that.
My wife is very supportive. I was just, she lets me do this every freaking week. So, this is taking time out of her day.
100%.
Yeah. But,
So you've had a lot of stuff going on in your life, probably like through this career, I'm pretty sure you probably got a story that just stands out to you. Maybe that might be a weird question, but if you just got something crazy you want to tell, I'd like to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, where do I start?
Fight wise or whatever wise.
Yeah.
It's hard. I don't have anything else.
I mean, here again, when you're talking about, almost 30 years doing this stuff, and golly, but I'm traveling all over the world,
Yeah.
And kind of that's the way I look at it.
Where was that World Fighting Alliance fight at?
Vegas.
Was it Vegas? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the one I watched had like Asian commentators or something.
Yeah, there was. So I was going to say, this is kind of the way I look at it, right? Like I said earlier, I'm just old farm boy from nowhere, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to travel all over the world. I fought in Las Vegas. I fought in Atlantic City. I fought in Tokyo, Japan. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
amazing, dude.
Just for a little old nobody.
What's
to be able to
crazy
say
is
you
for
did that.
two little old nobodies that don't deserve anything to just be sitting there talking to that dude.
I know, it's crazy.
It is wild.
It is
bro.
wild, yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy, bro. It's insane.
Yeah.
Do you you've traveled all over the world fighting, but is there one place that you enjoyed fighting more than any other place, or is it like I'd rather be closer to my hometown so I can have more people there? Is it is there a place you enjoyed?
Atlantic City was pretty dang awesome. It really was. That's a good place for fights.
Yeah,
We fought in the Trump Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
So that was pretty neat. It was the first time that my wife got to see me fight. So that was
she
pretty
tells
cool.
us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Not that pleasant of experience for her right off the bat, but
Oh no, that was a fight that we just went and watched. Not my first fight.
Oh.
Yeah, this what she's talking about.
Oh, okay.
We
I
just
gotcha.
went like on a date night.
Yeah.
And I took
You're
her.
like, this is what I do for fun.
Yeah. As somebody's head is bouncing off the
I
canvas and
gotcha.
blood and
Okay.
sweat splattered on her pretty dress.
Yeah.
But in Atlantic City, I fought that
Okay.
night. And the whole setup of that show was really cool. It was Team USA versus Team Russia. So they had picked guys from each weight class.
Dude.
And I was like a 3-week notice fill-in guy, but I got the call to come represent Team USA,
That's so cool.
and it
dude.
was awesome.
Yeah,
And hey, we kicked ass that night.
Heck yeah.
There was 10 fights on the card, and we won 9 of them.
Dang it.
And the only guy that lost, he fought up 2 weight classes.
Dang.
Golly.
So
Yeah.
we did pretty dang good.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool.
But it's just a cool event to be part of.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was going to ask you about is, since you've been in the fight game so long and you have watched it change, drastically.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything that sticks out to you that like this was the biggest change, or this was the biggest? Is there any changes in it that's happened along the way that just stands out to you?
Well, the first thing that really happened that started our path to a legitimate sport was when we got the unified rules, and everybody finally agreed on a rule set.
I got you.
We're going to do 3 5-minute rounds. This is what's legal and this is what's not, and everybody agreed to it. That was step one, and that helped tremendously.
So that was one of the biggest. You've seen that happen.
Oh
huh?
yeah.
That's wild. Dude.
Yeah, dude.
And that was you think the biggest change for the good, right?
Oh yeah.
Is there a change that happened for the bad that you don't like that you could point out?
The size and power and money of the UFC. They're too big. They're too big.
I agree.
And
Because how many fighters are getting missed from the UFC? How many? I mean, realistically, I've said this my whole life. Baseball players who are great athletes and play baseball like you've never seen before, they get passed on because they didn't go to the camps, they didn't pay for this, they're country bumpkin who just happened to be a freak athlete who played baseball and was great at it with no camps, with no teaching.
But they didn't have the right eyes on them, so they got
They
passed
didn't
over.
have the right eyes. So is that kind of what's happening with? Do you think that's happening with fighters today, or is that?
I think it could be. I think it probably is to some level, and I think it probably will be always at some level, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to see all the fighters in the world. Yeah.
But the thing about the UFC that I'm kind of referring to is, at this point, the UFC has some sort of an event every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might be a fight night, what they call a fight night.
It's watering it all down.
It's watered down terribly.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you 10 people in each weight class right now in the UFC. I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I couldn't tell you 10 in each weight class.
No, there's no way.
No.
You know, whereas before, whenever a UFC would come on, you know, it was a big deal.
Right.
And everybody got together and we watched every single one of them because we only got a pay-per-view about
once every 2-3 months or whatever. Sometimes 6.
Yeah. I mean, on average, maybe once every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you knew every fighter on the card from top to bottom.
Yeah.
You know, and it was, excited.
Yeah.
And now it's like this, I think UFC 316 is tonight.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 fights on the card that I even give a shit to see.
I know. That's me
2
too.
fights.
Yeah.
Me too.
The main event, the co-main event.
Yeah, me too.
The rest of them, I
am
don't even know
excited
who they
about
are.
both of those, though.
Yeah,
I am going to watch them,
Yeah, those will be great fights.
Yeah.
You know, I really want to see those, but here's another problem. I want to see those 2 fights. I ain't paying $80 to watch them.
Nah.
I ain't gonna do it.
Nah. I ain't either.
No.
Heck no.
No.
Way back when UFC pay-per-views were $20. You know,
Yeah.
it's $20.
And you pay to see that.
I would.
I mean, I would pay, $40 or $50.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Everything goes up.
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
But I'm not going to pay $80 for 2 fights.
Yeah.
Nah.
You know?
Heck no.
So like I said, I don't care about the rest of them. I don't know who they are.
I got you. That makes sense, though, what you're saying. It is watered down.
Yeah, I feel like it is.
It is, yeah. And there's so many people in it now. There's no way you can keep up with all the names.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You think people are progressing faster now?
Oh, for
with
sure.
all the information
For
and
sure.
stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, people are getting better quicker.
And do you think people are getting better than the group before them?
Oh, yeah.
So the people that are coming up, they're actually better fighters than the ones that are in the past, huh?
In some ways they are, right? To me, the very first guy that really put it all together at the highest level and was really good at all of it was George St. Pierre.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
But almost everybody can fight like George St. Pierre now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
he was an anomaly at that time, and
Right.
now everybody's like
Right,
that.
yeah.
Everybody's good at everything.
Yep. There's no, yeah. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the sports where people are continuously getting better. It's not like basketball, which used to be basically a contact sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's,
Now you get a foul called if you look at them wrong.
I can't watch it.
I can't either. No.
I can't.
No
not
interest
watch
in it
it.
at
I don't
all.
have any interest in it. So it's cool to see that happening too. Is it's actually getting better throughout time instead of, well, let's create this so these people don't get hurt, and let's create, and then you create this environment where it's easier to get a foul
Yeah.
than it is, and you don't want to do that in fighting.
No, I mean, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the sport in itself, right?
Yeah.
It's a combat sport.
Yeah.
We're there to hurt each other. you
Yeah,
know?
that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
Somebody get hurt.
Well, that's what
Not
sells
really. Like I don't want to see anybody get injured, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But a good knockout is a good knockout, and a good submission is a good submission.
Yeah.
That's what we're there for. Man, I feel like I had a million questions before you got on here, and now my mind is blank.
Let me see what time. 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's not bad. How old were you when you went pro?
24.
Okay,
Yeah, 24.
so you were like in it for a solid
3 or 4 years.
4 years, 3 or 4 years before you took that big step to go pro. Was it back then? Was it like a drastic change?
No,
Did
not really. No.
Yeah.
your level of competition didn't really step up that much?
I mean, the only difference was I got a few calls to go fight. Like when I fought Matt Hughes, when I fought Laverne Clark, you know, when I got,
Those are huge names, by the way.
you know, I got those calls, you know, because
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
a pro, you know, and you know, those fights, yeah, that was a big step.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys were a lot better,
Yeah.
but as far as going to a small local show,
A regional
regional show, regional
yeah.
pro show, wasn't much different at all. It really wasn't.
That's wild, ain't it?
Yeah.
Is that different now? Do you think?
Yes.
So when you take a step to pro now, it's going to be a drastic change in, generally speaking.
Generally speaking, but I wouldn't say drastic, right? And
Okay.
it all goes back to if you've got good people around you that are in kind of helping guide your career, right? If
Yeah.
that's what you're wanting to do and you're wanting to have a career in the sport, then, you know, you have a few amateur fights. Let's say you have 5 fights and you win 4 of them, you know, and you say, hey, I'm thinking about going pro. Okay, cool. Let's have 1 or 2 more amateur fights and let's have top level amateur fights, right?
Yeah.
Regional championship type fights. You win one of those, okay, now we're going to go pro, but that don't mean we're calling UFC.
Yeah.
You know, there's still levels
Yeah.
at professional. So we're going
Absolutely.
to start off at the regional level. Let's have a couple of where you're the first pro fight of the night,
Yeah.
and then just kind of take it a couple of fights at a time and work our way up.
It's like baseball. You go to AAA, AA,
Same
single
thing.
A, and then you go to the pros, and then
Yeah.
so they're all professional baseball,
Right.
essentially, but there's different levels to it.
Yeah, it's just like going and watching the Lookouts play and watching the Braves play.
Yeah.
You can see the difference.
You
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
I enjoy the watching the Lookouts play a little bit more than I enjoy the Braves because,
Yeah, me too.
well, so it's crazy because even with UFC, those guys are top notch professional fighters. Even if there's people out there that may be just as good or whatever, they are top notch, right? When you watch them fight, they don't make a lot of mistakes. There's not a lot of holes in some of there's not a lot of holes in some of them's fight game. Is that to me?
It's almost too perfect.
It's almost too perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to see somebody have a hole and then the other person take advantage of that hole, and that happens in the UFC, I guess.
It does.
But it's just not as drastic. It's not as
Well, the thing about it is when you get to that level, you have to create holes. Right.
Oh wow.
And that's a little bit of a part of the game that is, it's very, very high level that a lot of people will never get there to where they can create those openings and opportunities.
It's like a chess match then.
It is a chess match.
at that point, huh?
But, you got to, as a fighter, and I'll openly admit, my last fight that I had, which was just a few months ago,
February?
was my 30th fight
Yeah.
at 48 years old.
Yeah.
That was the first time that I consciously realized what I was doing. And if you watch that fight for the first minute and 25 seconds, I didn't do much of anything, but I was collecting data.
Mm-hmm.
Golly.
Like he throws this, he moves this way. I throw this, he moved that way. So I'm recording everything that he's doing. So then when I made my move, it was
there.
pop, pop, bam, fight's over.
And it was there.
Yep. then it's there.
That's beautiful, man.
Fight IQ.
Fight IQ.
Yeah.
So does your fight IQ come along with, since you said it that way, does your fight IQ come along with actual fights or maturity and age?
A little bit of both. You got to have both, right? You got to have your mat time in the gym.
Sure.
You gotta mature mentally, and you gotta have that ring experience too, because everything that happens in the cage is a little bit different than what it is in practice. It just is.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
There's more intent on everything that you do, and there's more consequences for everything that you don't do.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it. Yeah.
So, you got to have that good blend of all of it, and like I said before, the right people around you giving you those advice that you need to hear, and the hints, and the, hey man, you're doing this, or getting you ready for that next fight. Hey, he dips that right elbow a little bit right before he throws the left hook, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
So, and to have somebody that is what we would consider a great, like a George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, Khabib, these guys that have finished their career at the highest level with records of 20-0 or 25-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
They were the lucky ones that had all those things play in at the right time.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier about how aligned me and Billy are on a lot of things.
And y'all are aligned on everything, but your way of teaching it,
it's different.
It's
different.
just
It feels
a little
different,
bit different. Yeah, it feels a little bit different.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the aspect of going to class that day. I like you teaching and then going over there to Billy. It was like, y'all talking way different, but same shit. It's cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
That's all individuals will take in something a little differently, right?
Yeah.
The way that you say it may not make a damn bit of sense to me.
Yeah.
And he might tell me basically the same thing, but worded a different way. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of play really good off of each other.
Yeah.
And, honestly, I first met Billy about 10 years ago, and I wanted to work with him then. It was like, man, if I could get this kid and, kind of, if I was able to really bring him up but it wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
Everything happens on God's time, not ours.
That's
100%.
true. Yeah.
So now that we have come together and we're doing our thing together, I firmly believe this is where God wanted me to be.
Absolutely.
At this point in my life, this is where I'm supposed to be. And the conversations that I've had and kind of being a mentor to some of these younger kids coming up, the ones that are, even younger than when I started,
Yeah.
we got a couple in there like James, he's 19, something like that. He's a kid.
And then you got Ethan.
Yeah. Little Ethan that's 14. Yeah. Wait till he's about 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he sticks at this game, dude, he's going to be a menace to society.
Yeah. He'll be a problem.
Yeah, he will.
But, and for a long time too, I had a break of literally 15 years between my last fight. I fought in 2009, and I didn't fight again until 2024.
Man.
That's a big break.
Yeah, it is.
But there was a lot going on. We had 3 kids to raise.
Yeah.
I was working a lot, trying to, put food on the table.
Sure.
I had to be focused on career.
Oh, yeah.
I went through 5 years of school,
Life happens.
It's life,
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Just because I didn't compete for 15 years doesn't mean I didn't train.
Yeah.
I would still train, and that's how I met Billy 10 years ago. Was he was training somewhere else, and a couple of guys wanted me to come in because they were getting ready for a fight. Come help coach us up a little bit. And I'm okay, So I've always kind of had at least one toe in the water.
Yeah.
Even when
Yeah.
I wasn't really doing anything,
Yeah.
I'd still around and still come help and train a little bit.
Man, I love it. I love this. I love the fight game. Just talking to you guys, and then even coming in there and hanging out. and training for a couple of nights. But it's insane. Your mindsets are different.
Mm-hmm.
Your brains are different. They really are different. But I think I mess with it a little bit because I think mine is too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that I would enjoy it as much as I do if it wasn't just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, not everybody's cut out for it.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. Matter of fact, most people are not.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard.
Oh, it was so
Especially
hard.
when you first
the
start.
jiu-jitsu was so hard.
Whenever you don't know anything, and you know, we as men, you know, just naturally think we're tough and we can whoop somebody and all that. Just the natural thing. And then you come to the gym and a 14-year-old Ethan pieces your butt up.
Yeah.
And you realize real quick, you don't know how to fight.
Yeah.
You know, so that's very humbling.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think every man needs that. And
Absolutely.
every man should know how to fight just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like I got a strong right because I did pitch in baseball, so I could kind of.
You probably don't.
Yeah. No, I know I don't. I could throw a baseball at somebody though and hit them pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit different.
But you know the knowledge that's in martial arts, right? Martial arts, period. You know, either you're a martial artist or you're not. You know, and here again, you know, I'm 30 years into this stuff, man. I'm a martial artist. You know,
Yeah.
And I always just wanted to learn, wanted to grow, and the moment that you think you know it all, you're not going to learn anymore. Nobody can know it all.
Mm-mm.
There's no possible way.
Nah.
There's people who are doing it at a very high level that are still learning stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they should be.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to
And
leave that
making up
ego.
new moves too.
Yeah.
People are making up
It's
new-
evolving all the time.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But
It's insane. Like, here's something else you got to watch out for.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And that comes from leaving that ego
you got
out.
Yeah.
And one of the best ego stories I can tell. This is really cool, right? This is going way back. So, a little history lesson for you, right? Jigoro Kano is the guy from Japan that developed modern day judo, which is what jiu-jitsu comes from, right?
Right.
And back in his day, you know, in the 1800s, the samurai was dying out. And it was not a way of life anymore in Japan. But he wanted to keep martial arts alive. So he took, you know, certain techniques out of the samurai training and developed judo, right?
Okay.
Which, like I said, developed into jiu-jitsu, and we have sport judo at the Olympics and all this, you know. But Kano was doing an interview, and here again, this was over 100 years ago, so it was in a newspaper, right? And
That's so crazy, dude.
so here is Kano, the guy that pretty much invented the sport of judo, right?
Yeah.
It's martial art.
Yeah. And, you know, he was an old man at the time of this interview, been doing it forever. And he said, the guy giving him the interview said, Kano, how, and of course it's, you know, translated from Japanese, so it sounds a little awkward, right?
Right, yeah.
But he's like, Kano, how big is judo? And Kano said, judo this big. He said, well, in the whole country of Japan, how much judo does Japan know? If judo's this big, how much do we know? He said, Japan knows this much judo.
Dang.
He said, well, Kano, you're kind of the founder of judo and all this stuff. You know, how much judo do you know? He said, Kano know this much judo.
So the smarter you get at this game, the less you realize you know.
Yep.
Pretty smart.
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair, that's the way it is with anything, really.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Once you get into it so deep, you realize that there's so much more.
So much
Bottomless
more,
pit.
so much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That's so cool, man. Because you get humbled. I've been humbled in my job and realized how much bigger some stuff is than what I realized. You know, you're like, golly, dude.
Yeah.
It's the fight game or whatever else, really, life.
Yeah.
Really.
Exactly.
But martial arts is a direct reflection of life a lot of times, right?
It is. It absolutely is.
The harder you work at it, the better you'll be at it.
Yep.
The more time you put into it, the better you'll get at it.
And I think that in general, people that train martial arts do better at life.
I
Right?
think so too.
Because if you...
I think they're better humans.
Absolutely.
I really do. Just
Yeah.
from talking to the guys that come and sit down here with me, they're better humans. They don't mean to be.
No, it's just what it does to you, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's just the effects.
Yeah.
But, if you put yourself through training, and you're constantly facing these adversities in training every day,
Yeah.
And you've got a 300-pound Billy smashing your guts out, trying to get up, reclaim your card, whatever it might be, or, and you make it through that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Get up, go to work. It's easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That ain't no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I got to get that report done by lunchtime. Psh,
I got you.
yeah, that's cheesecake, baby. I got that. Yeah.
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 Exactly.
It,
Yeah,
it puts a lot of things into perspective.
It does.
Whenever you force yourself to go through that grind. And then when you start enjoying that grind and you get comfortable
In the
being
grind.
uncomfortable, that's the key. When you're comfortable being uncomfortable,
I'm not.
then you start to
comfortable being
grow.
uncomfortable. I'm not comfortable being uncomfortable.
Well, I've been uncomfortable 99% of my life, so
Well,
still ain't got comfortable yet.
he's stepped out of his element a lot just doing this.
Right.
So he's been getting uncomfortable every week for 3 years almost now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so he's growing though.
Right.
He's growing as a human.
So think of yourself now and take a step back and compare it to the way you were when you were doing this 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Your first time ever compared to now.
I mean,
Big difference,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You can go back and watch our first one, son. It is not good.
Nah.
A little rough, huh?
Oh yeah, it is rough as a cop, son. It's still on the internet though for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Once it gets put on, it's there forever.
Yeah.
It never leaves.
Chat, man, I appreciate you coming on, taking the time out of your day. You have done more with your life than most
ever
human
will.
beings.
For sure. Dude.
Well,
So taking your time out of your day to come talk to us, bro, is huge to us.
It's no problem.
It's
I
huge.
said it's just a cool hobby that I got into, and I've been very blessed and fortunate to meet some really cool people, and to where I am today, where I can really influence young people's life and help them grow and bring them up. But I'll be the first to tell you, man, that as cool as all that stuff was, what really matters in life is sitting right there on that couch.
Yeah.
Sure.
100%.
yeah.
She blessed me with 3 great kids, and now we've got 7 grandkids. And
7 of them,
there's
son.
absolutely nothing like it.
7 grandkids. I got 2. They're in yonder wreaking havoc, son.
Well, that's what they do.
Yeah. They're wide open, bro.
But hey, I'm not going to let you forget, if you're trying to wrap things up, we still got to do a smash demonstration.
Oh, yeah. You want to go ahead and do it,
yeah.
Tim?
I'm going to just record that with my phone.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. I want
Okay,
that
we're
to
going
be
to throw
it.
it out there right now then?
Yeah, it's coming on. It's going on
Oh, it's going on immediately.
right now, yeah. That's going on right now, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we can't wait on that.
I got to see that right now.
That shit slides. I can't wait to smash this motherfucker, dude.
He feels like a 1,500-pound boulder, I'm just telling you.
That's funny.
So at the end, we kind of give everybody a chance to shout out anybody they want to shout out. If you got somebody you want to shout out, you already shouted your wife out. Look at that camera and shout them out. If you don't have anything else, I'll take that whole part out of the podcast.
Well, yeah, man, I definitely want to give a shout out to C-Mac and Billy and all the guys there. It just feels like home. You know, it really does. And I'll always be grateful for this opportunity to come and share my knowledge with those guys. It just means the world to me. And, you know, of course, like I said, my wife, my family, I would not be the person I am today without them. You know, they're everything to me. And most importantly, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I wake up every morning and thank Jesus for giving me another day and blessing me with the life that he's blessed me with.
Amen.
Heck yeah.
And at the end of these things, we tell everybody we love them. You don't have to. We love y'all.
Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Golly,